Shadow Monk, the ninja, the warrior of the night, the stealthy silent slayer from the land of the rising sun. Shadow Monk is basically a shadow wizard who knows Krav Maga. They summon magical darkness, can teleport through shadows, and even become invisible in the night. Now, being invisible in the pitch black of night sounds kinda redundant, but when most of the population of your fantasy world are born with night vision goggles, this is a pretty good tool to have. But Shadow Monk isn't perfect. It has some issues, at least at later levels. But the early levels are pretty great. Like level 3 gives you Shadow Arts. It gives you dark vision and it lets you cast darkness that your special eyes can see through. For those that don't know, darkness is a spell that lets you summon magical darkness that regular dark vision can't see past. It's like those smoke bombs people throw down to escape, but instead of smoke, it's the pure absence of light, and non-magical light can't just get rid of it. It's like a benign black hole. It makes more sense if you don't think about it. The point is, you can see through this magical darkness, but creatures with dark vision do not. And thank God, too many creatures in player races have dark vision. It's actually absurd. There are more player races with dark vision than without. Do you realize? Nope, I'm not gonna do that. I promised I would stay focused for this. I go on too many tangents for these videos. Sun Soul Monk, make sure I stay on topic. You got it, boss. All right, lock in, Skelly. You are a bone wizard, not a ramble wizard. This is a video about Shadow Monk. And only Shadow Monk. Anyway, with Shadow Arts, our ninja frog can throw down some darkness onto our enemy, run into the cloud, and bonus action smack them with advantage. All the while, the person they are punching is swinging around blind with disadvantage. If they try to leave that darkness, they are going to eat an attack of opportunity. And why not sprinkle on a stunning strike to trap them in your shadows? The cartoon fight Dust Cloud is an ancient and deadly technique. And what's awesome about darkness is you can cast it on your weapon and then have that sphere of darkness follow you wherever you go. Well, technically, you can't do that. Darkness can't be cast on items being worn or carried, so you can't cast it on a sword you are holding or on your clothes. The rule is there so you can't cast it on an orc's armor and effectively banish them to the Shadow Realm, but there is a way to have darkness be on your weapon. If you are holding a weapon at the start of your turn, you drop it on the ground as a free action, then you use your action to cast darkness on the weapon that is no longer being carried, and then you use your free object interaction to pick up the weapon. Simple, right? The spell works on weapons being carried, it just can't be initially cast on weapons being carried. This is really janky, I know, but you could flavor this as throwing your weapon in the air, casting darkness, and then catching your weapon. The best part is if you toss up your weapon, fumble it, and it goes through your foot, you're in your bubble of shadow, so no one will know you're a klutz. Oops! Butterfingers! Did you know the 2014 version of Shadow Monk didn't get dark vision? So not only could they not see through their own darkness, but they also could not see through even normal darkness. Meaning, if you picked a race without dark vision, when you use your level 6 feature to teleport from one bit of darkness to another, you're basically driving blind. You just had to hope there were no traps or monsters in that darkness that you're throwing yourself into. It is crazy they didn't give Shadow Monk dark vision in 2014. Well, thankfully, literally every other race gets dark vision because they hand that shit out like candy. I love how darkness is so much less scary in nearly every D&D party. The one time WotC is stingy with dark vision is with the subclass that needs to see in the dark. Did you know 56%, no, focus. No ramble wizard, no ramble wizard. Where is Sun Soul Monk? He's supposed to keep me on track. Okay, open hand. Make sure I stay on topic, okay? This is a video about Shadow Monk. And only Shadow Monk! While 2014 Shadow Monk had some issues, it did have some neat tricks 2024 doesn't have. It not only got the spell Darkness, but also the spell Dark Vision and Silence. So I think for our buffed Shadow Monk, we will give them these spells and also make them cost 1 key. That way it gives them some variety. And I guess they can have Pass Without a Trace too. It's a dumb spell that's poorly designed, mainly because stealth in D&D is poorly designed. I really think it could be better if— No Ramble Wizard! Oh, also they get Minor Illusion at level 3. Now, this is already pretty strong, but we're going to give them a few features that fix a few potential issues and add some flavor. At level 3, we are going to give them the feature Night Sight. It's very similar to what the 2024 version of this subclass does. Night Sight gives you dark vision. If you already have dark vision, which statistically you will, it increases the range of that dark vision by 30 feet, and you can see through all magical darkness, not just your own. Look, this is the shadow guy. Let's not split hairs about whose darkness you can see through. A level 2 warlock can grab an invocation to see through all magical darkness, so giving this to a 3rd level monk is balanced. The next feature they get at level 3 is Share the Sight. Once per a long rest, you can grant someone the benefit of your Night Sight feature so they can see through all magical darkness too. Just hand them some night vision goggles, summon the shadows from beyond, and do some Zero Dark 30. I think it's important for at least one teammate to see through the darkness you make, because remember, while your enemies can't see in that magical darkness, your teammates can't see through it either. With Shadow Monk, you want the enemies to be in the darkness, the enemies your party is also fighting. All abilities that rely on sight don't work, making attack rolls is weird because you can't tell where the enemies are. So if all the enemies are enshrouded by that darkness, there's a pretty good chance your party does nothing on their turn because their options are severely limited, which I don't think will happen all the time, but I think it will happen some of the time. And there are ways around this, preparing attacks and spells when enemies run out of the darkness, area of effect spells. A Warlock with Devil Sight is actually a really good synergy, but excluding the Warlock, these methods are all pretty clunky, and it gets even more awkward if you cast darkness on your weapon because the darkness follows you. So when the enemy frees themselves from the void, you will chase them, and we repeat the whole process over again. Wouldn't it be better to have a friend in the darkness with you? No preparing actions, no awkward waiting around, just running in there with your friend and beating a guy unconscious with hammers. I'm also limiting Share the Sight to one creature just cause an entire team who can see through magical darkness is a lot. Inviting that is just begging your DM to give all your enemies blind sight and big flaming AoE attacks. And I feel weird about that because on one hand, you're excluding people, so you're only helping one friend see in the darkness while the others are left out. But on the other hand, if you give it to everyone, it's like, oh, okay, now just no enemies can see ever. And it's just like this whole thing to the point where I'm like, does Shadow Monk even belong in D&D? Is this just a bad concept? And putting a key cost on the dark vision, I don't really think helps, mainly because you're still having your enemies not be able to see and do anything, so it's like, ugh. Lastly, for flavor, we are going to give them stealth proficiency. This is the ninja subclass. I don't think I need to explain this decision. If you already have stealth proficiency, you can instead take deception or survival. Deception because ninjas were also covert spies, and survival because many ninja weapons actually started out as farming tools, allegedly, but that's good enough for me. It let ninjas arm themselves when swords were not available and appear to be normal, non-deadly peasants. I feel like if you pretend to be a farmer long enough, you'll eventually learn a thing or two about threshing rice and soybeans, because nunchucks may have originally been tools to separate grains of rice from their stalks. They only later got repurposed for bashing skulls. Level 6. Level 6 gives us Shadow Step. Ooh, baby, I love this. If you're in dim light or darkness, you can teleport to another patch of dim light or darkness as a bonus action. After you teleport, you get advantage on your next melee attack on that turn. It's literally
nothing personnel, kid.
Jokes aside, this feature is awesome. The best part is you can do this an unlimited amount of times. The only requirement is that you start and end in dim light or darkness. And in a game called Dungeons and Dragons, I feel like not many lairs will be all well lit. OSHA has yet to inspect this evil wizard's hell prison. And even if there is a hell prison that is well lit and OSHA certified, you can summon darkness that only you and your bestie can see through. So if you want to run away, you can throw down a smoke bomb and teleport 60 feet away to the nearest shadowy corner. A little side tangent, I picked Grung to represent Shadow Monk because they have a climb speed, so you can even teleport to a shadowy wall. I also picked them because I just like little guys, and maybe I like them because they are like one of the few races that don't have dark vision. You know, dark vision was way more nuanced in previous systems, so there was this thing called low light vision, right? No Ramble Wizard! Wait, hold on. Dude, what happened to the open hand monk? First Sun Soul monk starts slacking, now open hand? Ugh. Okay, Drunken Monk, my boy, my most beloved monk. Make sure I don't go off topic, okay?
I got you, fam!
This video is about Shadow Monk, and only Shadow Monk! Level 11. So you may have noticed a problem with Shadow Step. What if you're in bright light or there are no shadows around? That would mean your Shadow Step doesn't work. Sometimes fights just happen in the middle of a bright sunny day, or the dungeon is well lit. I wouldn't have thought Strahd's Pleasure Gulag had recessed lighting, but here we are. So how did the 2024 Shadow Monk solve this issue? With improved Shadow Step. By spending one key when you Shadow Step, you can ignore the requirements to be in shadows. Just ignore the entire theme of this subclass for one key. This feature is the equivalent of a dry, plain rigatoni. It has no sauce. Let me be clear, improved Shadow Step is good, but it ditches the entire premise of this subclass to be good. The flavor text is not doing enough heavy lifting, dude. Using Shadow Step in the middle of a well-lit field with no shadows around is dumb. How is this the best solution to your bright sunny day problem? You couldn't have thought of a solution for your Shadow Monk that involves, oh, I don't know, shadows? I don't understand how Dungeons and Dragons, the game that encourages creativity, is made by the people with zero imagination. They don't got what it takes. They have zero sauce and they lack whimsy. Yeah, that's right. I said it. They are not whimsical. But me, I'm whimsical as fuck. You need the sauce, brother, I'm your boy RD. Here's how we give this level 11 feature the sauce. Borrow Shade. You have learned how to step through the shadows of creatures even in broad daylight. Any space within 5 feet of a creature, other than yourself, within bright light counts as shadows for your shadow step feature. Easy, cause think about it. Doesn't matter if it's high noon, you still have shadows on the ground, and that's where Shadow Monk just no clips right through the ground using your own shadow. Wow, look at that. I fixed a weakness without sacrificing the theme. I didn't use some hand-wavy flavor text to just avoid the theme of the subclass. Nah, I built it into the feature because I am a very whimsical boy. But I'm not done yet. When you use Shadow Step, you can also bring one willing creature along with you. You don't need Dimension Door, bro. You are the Dimension Door. You can bring a creature with you when you Shadow Step using a Dark Corner, your Darkness spell, and even the shadow cast by a goblin. You can use a creature's shadow to Shadow Step as long as they are your size or larger. And if you aren't in bright light but dim light or darkness, then it's back to regular Shadow Step, but this time you got company. So let's say your fighter wants to whack a wizard and he's too far away, but your turn is right before his. You can cast Darkness on top of the enemy, Shadow Step through your fighter's shadow, and put your fighter friend right in front of that wizard. When it's the fighter's turn, if you shared your Night Sight with him, he can use his action surge to attack him 6 times, all with advantage, or the fighter could grapple him, keeping him inside that darkness bubble. You know, they say when you cut off one sense, it heightens your remaining senses. That includes touch. So these punches and stabbings are going to hurt even worse than normal. This also acts as a great tool to get your friends away from danger.
Don't worry, sorcerer, I'll save you. Stunning strike! Make a con save.
Okay, the monster rolled a 3.
Perfect, that jabroni is stunned.
Well, he rolled a 3 for a total of 23.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Huh. We have to leave.
Also, yes, I know shadows do not encompass the entire 5-foot radius of a person, but I kept it vague, because listen, DMs, I don't want you to worry about light sources and shadows and their directions. I don't want to give you more work. I'm trying to make your life easy. I got you. The 2024 Shadow Monk is a sauceless pile, but what does have the sauce, and I know it has the sauce because I have firsthand experience with it, is the Dark Matter Megabox Kickstarter. Dark Matter is a 440-page sci-fi fantasy campaign setting that launches your D&D 5e game in space! Using the 2024 5e rules, you can break free from your medieval fantasy and live out Dune, Star Wars, or Mass Effect at your table. I actually played using their previous Dark Matter content, and dude, it's really cool. I used a hover car to Tokyo drift through some spider alien things, snuck up on mecha demons to shoot them with an ion cannon that does more damage if you are closer to the enemy, and then fought a space shark in a stolen giant mech. It gets the Bone Wizard seal of approval. The Dark Matter Megabox has rules for building your own ships, rules for ship combat, 8 new playable races, dozens of new feats, and 46 new subclasses. Yeah, 46 new subclasses. That's gotta be a record on this channel, holy crap. Did I mention Dark Matter has mechs? Because they have mechs, and the mechs are really cool. If you want to play D&D in space, click on the link in the description down below to check out the Dark Matter Megabox Kickstarter. Thank you to Dark Matter for sponsoring this video. So the 2024 Shadow Monk does not have the sauce, but how does the 2014 version hold up? It's actually pretty cool. Cloak of Shadows can make you invisible at any time as long as you are in the dark. You only get out of invisibility when you cast a spell, attack, or go into bright light. Sure, it's not great in combat because it costs your action, but out of combat, it's awesome. It's still good for doing stealthy things, which is what you want from the ninja guy. So for our buffed Shadow Monk, we will give them the 2014 version of Cloak of Shadows 2. It's more cost-effective than Empty Body, and unlimited situational invisibility is still really good. Sure, you have to be in the dark for it to work, but remember, most creatures in this game are born with night vision goggles. Like every flavor of elf has dark vision. Aasimar has dark vision, despite also knowing the light spell. That feels really unnecessary, but okay. But the rest all make sense. Every other creature with dark vision, you know, lives in the darkness or has descendants that live in the darkness. It all makes sense. I can't take it anymore! I am unleashing the Ramble Wizard. Why do so many player races have dark vision? Seriously, it's actually absurd. In the 2014 version of D&D, there were 62 races that were officially released by WotC. 33 of those races had dark vision, more than half. And when the game first released in the year 2014, the player handbook had 6 races with dark vision and 3 races without dark vision. A ratio of 2 to 1 for all you math lovers. You know all those memes where players shout that they have dark vision? Maybe you've seen one. There are about a million. Is it the player's fault that they keep announcing that they have dark vision, or is it WotC's fault for handing out night vision goggles like they're free samples at the supermarket? It's seeing in the dark. Shouldn't that be special? Especially in a game about going into fucking dungeons. It should matter because it does matter. The difference between walking with a lit torch and seeing in the dark is massive. And this isn't me saying dark vision is bad or you need to run it this way or that way. Dark vision is fine and darkness is fine. I'm just saying too many races have dark vision and it makes it all that much harder to have a tense and spooky atmosphere. The "I have dark vision" memes are there partly because DMs are annoyed so many players can just see through darkness. Can you make a tense atmosphere where everyone has dark vision? Absolutely. I have done it, you have done it, it's not that complicated. But wouldn't it make your players a little bit more scared if they had to rely on that light spell, where the players have to use a torch that basically acts like a "we are here" sign for all the monsters in this pitch black cave? It's so scary and I love it. And if you disagree with me, let me hit you with this. Do you really believe more than half of the player races in D&D should have dark vision? You think 53% should be able to see in the dark? You think that was a good design choice? Also, I didn't include the races from the plane shift supplements, mainly because does anyone even use these? They're not even on D&D Beyond, so if they can ignore them, I feel like I should be able to as well. But for transparency, if you are wondering what the stats look like with them included, it's right here. The ratio actually goes to 1-to-1. I still think that's way too high, but I put that up because I don't want to make any of the plane shift fans angry. Any core fans watching this video? Where are all my core heads at? Now, there are races that I think deserve dark vision, like Owlin. Real life owls are nocturnal, they hunt at night and they can see in the dark. That makes sense to me. Kobolds and dwarves, while they spend most of their time underground, I think dark vision seems appropriate. Fire Ganassi. Bro, you can summon flame and your ancestors are from a place called the Plane of Fire. Do you even know what darkness is? In what context would a being that is from a plane that is basically a raging eternal inferno need to see in the dark? It gets even worse. The Fire Elemental, a being made of pure fire, an entity who emits light due to the very nature of his existence, a creature who has light emission on their stat block, has dark vision.
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
These are the only races that I think warrant having dark vision. Why not elves? Because I don't care what the reason they have dark vision is, it's still not good enough. If you write lore and that lore dictates that more than half of the available races in your game are born with night vision, I think your lore sucks. Make better lore. You know who deserves dark vision way more than elves? Rogues. They are the class people pick to be sneaky guys. Give it to them. Elves don't deserve it. What about drow? We do not acknowledge the fetish race. Ed Greenwood, the creator of the Forgotten Realms, and many other Dungeons & Dragons writers wrote drow with one hand, if you know what I mean. And you know what? I'll go even further than this list. I challenge you to limit the amount of species in your game that have dark vision down to 3. My picks are dwarves, kobolds, and tabaxis. Why those 3? 1, because I like those guys. 2, yes, I'm biased. 3, fuck you. Anyway, let me know in the comments what 3 races you would pick to give dark vision. I'm curious what people will say. And if you were thinking tiefling, cringe. Oh my god, this video is supposed to be about Shadow Monk, not dark vision. Wait, where are all my monks to keep me focused? Oh, they're probably slacking off somewhere. Level 17. Level 17 for Shadow Monk is in a bit of an odd spot, both for the 2014 version and the 2024 version. The 2014 version lets you use your reaction to punch, which my buffed monk does with deflect attack, so these two are both competing for your reaction. The 2024 monk lets you turn invisible, attack while invisible, and makes your flurry of blows cost 0 ki, which my buffed monk can already do. At level 20, buffed monk gets Keymaster, which makes your flurry of blows cost 0 ki, and at level 18, they also get empty body, which lets you turn invisible and gain a bunch of resistances. For our version of a buffed Shadow Monk, I don't think we want either of these. With the 2024 Shadow Monk, the benefits it gets end when you go into bright light, which isn't ideal for a combat ability. Yeah, it can also move through occupied spaces as if they were difficult terrain like a ghost. Like, that sounds cool, but I'd rather just have the 2014 empty body feature rather than this lesser version of it, to be honest. Also, empty body is rad. It's messed up WotC cut it from base monk. Before I get to the level 17 ability, I just want to say thank you for watching so far, and if you're enjoying this video, consider liking and subscribing, and leave a comment. I respond to those. Also, I got a Patreon, so check that out. Okay, back to the video. So level 17 is kind of a bust for both versions of this subclass, so here's my pitch. Faster than light. You can cast spells gained from your Shadow Arts feature as a bonus action, and you gain an additional bonus action. The second bonus action can can only be used to use your Shadow Step feature or to cast a spell from your Shadow Arts feature. The options you can do with this are crazy. You could teleport toward a guy and still have your Flurry of Blows available. You could cast Silence on a wizard, hit them with Flurry of Blows, and then grapple them so he can't move out of the area of silence, so he can't cast verbal spells. The amount of spells available to any caster that is in this situation are so very few. They genuinely might not have anything prepared that lacks verbal components. Oh, you upset Hypnotic Pattern just didn't work on this frog? Guess you didn't see the How You Should Buff Monk video then, huh? Oh, and if the caster counterspells your silence, okay. Not how I'd use my reaction, but sure. Sorcerer, disintegrate his balls. With Faster Than Light, you can teleport a squishy sorcerer away from an enemy, then use your second bonus action to teleport a fighter right next to an enemy. Nothing in the universe can travel at the speed of light, they say, forgetful of Shadow's speed. Translation, this monk's got some movement. And that's all I got to buff Shadow Monk. How do you feel, Shadow Monk? Shadow Monk? Hello? Are you invisible right now? Dude, where did Shadow Monk go? Where are the other monks? Where did all of my monks go?
Downsized the other monks, vertically integrated all of their abilities. Gonna be a good Q1. I was wondering when you'd show up.
やれやれだぜ。
Shoutouts to the patrons: Beefmaster, Nolan46, Jesse Easton, Panko6, Hayden Tistamer, Manifestering, Sparkdrake, Seductive Squidward, Black-Blooded Beast, Cubico, Captain Halcyonics, Nephirath, Trevin Zarmes, Terius, Timberwolf J, The Gaming Rogue, Fenikusu1, Hayden Wilmot, Christopher Cook, Zachaloo, Xander3, Fusro Dog, Poggers Extreme, James Spear, Seth Nyan, Mr. Nobody 13, Alex Score, Alex Dorf, Wet Toaster, Nema Maori, Ed Boy, Pat Hughes, Iskander711, Anymoose, Dice Monkey, Mullock, Spartus Maximus 1, King Storm, Polymolly 01, Ninja, Soul Dice the 53rd, Inkblot, Brecken Ven, Direwolf, and Balkan. Thank you guys so much. You are all the best.